Hello and welcome, Lemon here, coming at you with my top 10 list of favorite Heartless in Kingdom Hearts. I have recently been playing Kingdom Hearts 2 Randomize, and I have been thinking, what are my favorite 10 Heartless, or just favorite Heartless in general? The top one was pretty easy to decide. I've always personally enjoyed him, but the rest of them were very hard to actually decipher through. After doing a little research, I found out that I love most of them, and it's hard to choose a favorite, but looking at art designs, journal entries, and how their combat works, I narrowed it down to a list of my top 10 favorites. The only two rules I placed on myself for this was no boss Heartless and no rare Heartless like the Sniper Wild or the Bulky Vendor. And with that out of the way, why don't we get this list started? And please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below of your top favorite Heartless, and maybe we share a few. So, first off at number 10, we have the Shadow. Most well-known Heartless, very basic, very beginner guy that you ever fight in most of the Kingdom Hearts games, sometimes as a nobody, but we'll get into that kind of stuff later. But the Kingdom Hearts 1 journal entry states this about them: the Heartless that emerge from various places, they sneak upon their enemies and strike them with their sharp claws. They're extremely tenacious, often chasing their prey to the end. Nothing huge, nothing fantastic. They're adorable, don't get me wrong, and you know, you're gonna see them in every world forever, and if you see a huge swarm of them and they maybe fly around in a big snake-like pattern, they can be called the Demon Tide or Tower, and a little more formidable, but still the basic Heartless, even at Mega, Giga, it's not that great. He's just the the fan main. Everyone knows him, everyone's seen him, and that's why he's my top 10. Next up at number 9, we have the Air Soldier. Oh, nothing more than a basic soldier with wings. He is at least the first enemy you're going to have to actually jump up and smack at. It's not just, hey, I can mash through this fight real easy, no problems. This doesn't mean they're overly formidable. They're pretty annoying because they like to fly out of your range and then come in and hit you when you're not looking at them, or, you know, just try to mess up your combos and whatnot, so they can be slightly annoying, and they do look pretty awesome with their helmets and whatnot, but they're still just not that dangerous or hard to deal with. I mean, you get Baby Reflect, Magnet, anything, and they're just done, so you do have to jump to hit them. They do look cool, they're just not that perfect or dangerous or anything yet, so they're gonna have to sit at number 9 here. At number 8, we have what I'm calling Team Magical Music. Oh boy, there are just so many of these guys. In Kingdom Hearts 1, we only have the 4 originals: the Red Nocturne, the Blue Rhapsody, the Yellow Opera, and the Green Requiem. They were Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, and Heal, respectively. And they have found their way onto so many battlefields in every single game of Kingdom Hearts. In each game, they all just have a different name types, so they keep the color and add a new musical term, or a new color and a new musical term, but each one of them is color and music, and that is like their little gimmick. That's how you kind of know that you're going to have these little bell-shaped guys existing in their world, and they're resistant to normally whatever magic there are, and like they're annoying. They're simply annoying. If you have 4 of them and they're all of different types, you can't just use one magic in that area. You gotta figure it all out, and it normally just ends with smacking them with a Keyblade. And to think that there is a total of 23 different variations of these guys, it's just ridiculous. We can't have any more of them, can we? But they still keep coming up with more, and they're adorable, and they all are perfect in their little battle fight. They're not ever high HP or ever strong magic to actually be scary, other than when they're in masses, but they reached number 8 because, god damn it, they have been in so many matches. My 7th pick is the Wyvern, the simple dragon bird thing from Kingdom Hearts 1. He isn't overly hard to deal with in many aspects, because normally you don't see him like in large groups that would cause many problems or anything. Normally he's like the first guy you take out because he's gonna attack you from air. He's annoying, right? Like look, he's a dragon. Like, come on. So, though his character model isn't fantastic, his redone sprite looks much better than his first one, and his attacks aren't overly powerful unless left untamed. He's just he looks cool, he attacks with some cool attacks, and he can literally two-shot you if you let him, so it's hard not to have him on this list, even though I was debating putting the Wizard in this spot. I didn't really think the Wizard was that hard or formidable or anything too crazy, so it has to go to the Wyvern here. He's killed me enough times to make me not want to deal with him. He's always the first enemy you normally want to deal with, like in any of the Hollow Bastion fights I can think of. He's the first guy to go, so he deserves a spot on the list, but he's just not the biggest threat. Number 6 is a little bit personal for me. The White Knights. They're very easy to deal with. I mean, they have low HP, they're high attack, and they move around real quick. Like, that's not very much a deal with Magnet done. But look at them. They are adorable, they are kind of scary, they are Halloween Town perfect, which another bias is my favorite world, so like, kind of all the enemies in that world I really love, but this one especially, I had trouble getting used to at the beginning, and then once I learned him, he was like the easiest guy in the game. Like, dodge, block, magnet, counterattack. Literally anything will take him out as long as you just don't get hit, and that's pretty easy to do. So, he's not the strongest guy, but he is amazing. Look at him, look at his movements, look at his attacks. He's so fun. How can you not love him? And I know this might not be everyone's number 6, but the White Knight for me, man, I love him. He's got a spot on my list. Now the halfway mark, number 5. He barely beat out the White Knight. I mean, the only reason he does is because I've died many more times to him and his variations than I have to the White Knight, and that's the large body. He's a big round circle. Like, you know what you gotta deal with here. You gotta attack him from the back. He's gonna have high or invulnerable damage from the front. And he literally, like, I don't know, neutral to all magic, or maybe he's normal damage to all magic, but he doesn't like to stand in the way of magic, and even when he does, he just goes into rage mode right after it. So it's like, was it worth it? Now I have to deal with blocking him, or reaction commanding him, or whatever, and like, they're not hard. You deal with them pretty quickly. But if you get caught by them, they're normally in one-hit KO, and it's just, no, I don't want to deal with any more large bodies or the variations. Please, Donald or Goofy, kill this guy for me, because I'm done. I don't like him. He looks cool. He's a very simple design. The armor's design on him has been evolved beautifully through many games. And I've always enjoyed, like, the helmed bod and the, I want to call it armored body one, but oh no, the Fat Bandit, that's another great one, but oh my gosh, have they killed me, and how I had to learn whole new strategies to deal with them, because they're just so annoying. Like, they shouldn't be that annoying, they're just a fat ball, but they are, and this is why they make it in my number 5, because as fantastic as the White Knight is, he isn't as big as a threat on the battlefield as our boy here, so welcome to number 5, large body. Nearing our top 3, we have our first possible chance for someone who could have replaced the top 3. I guess kind of our only one, because some of the other ones are in our honorable mentions, and I didn't even want to go into how they could be in the list or not. It's kind of like, it would have been much more me basing it off just what a character model looks like rather than how they actually play in the game. But this guy, I have to admit, as a child, scared the crap out of me multiple times. When he would spawn in, I would jump, and I was never really wanting to fight him. But he was never a big threat once I learned how to fight him, and the Gargoyle is kind of my number 4. I want him to be higher on this list, but he can't be because he's just not big threat in any way or form. So like, just because he's purple and I have some fun memories of him, and like he is an upgraded air soldier, so like he does do that same thing of dodging away and keeping his distance, keeping out of your attacks and waiting to be a nuisance to break your combo and yada yada yada, but he's still not that big of a deal to any normal Keyblade wielder. And if it wasn't for I was scared of him as a child, he appears in Halloween Town. He's purple, which is fantastic, and look at him. He's cute. Like, come on. I just can't not have him in this list, so he's in my number 4, and I want him higher, I really do, but he's just not strong enough for anything other than looking cool, so here he is. Now the top 3. Well, these top 2, or the 3rd and the 2nd, they were hard to decide. The number 1 was very easy. I've loved the number 1 since like the start of Kingdom Hearts. He's always been, but we'll get there. We'll get there, folks. Number 3 and number 2, they pretty much caused me the exact same problems in all combat. They pretty much look very simple, straightforward, but very elegant. And their journal entries were both meh, nothing fantastic, nothing bad. In saying that, I did have to give the magic user the 3rd spot and the physical user the 2nd spot because I've always had a harder time dealing with physical Heartless over magical Heartless. I prefer using magic in Kingdom Hearts, like that's just me. So in saying that, the Angel was in my 3rd spot here because, by golly, Jesus H. Murphy Christ, 6 of these things in a single fight times. It's such a stupid precursor to the final boss fight, having to fight those waves and waves of Heartless, and they are just part of the series, and then you gotta get like 3 of them with like 3 Dark Balls, and then that fight is pretty much the reason that I have a list of Heartless in general, because though I hate them, I love that challenge. So the challenge of learning how to completely change my battle strategy to defensive or even non-aggressive, like magic use, controlling my magic use and being smart about it and dealing properly with those guys. Holy Jesus, it was an experience, and I would love to like have that first feeling of it again, but now I see them and I'm like, alright, here we go. It's going to be a fun fight, but hopefully I come out on top, and they're some of the first enemies I'd love to go back and kill instantly with a 1-hit or 2-hit or very quickly after you get to level 99 ultimate weapon. So the Invisibles, these very fuck. Now at number 2 we have someone who, oh boy, he deserves this spot, yes, and man, that fight, that one fight at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 just pretty much has everything in it that I love and hate about Kingdom Hearts, and Mr. Invisible is, I'm not a physical user in Kingdom Hearts. It took me forever to learn dodging times and counterattack times and iframes with my rolls and whatnot. And holy Jesus, did this guy abuse the crap out of that for me. I have at least 300 deaths to him on my like first playthrough, maybe my last playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 1, because this fine gentleman just loves to wreck your day. He'll go into a sword, be invincible, and then 1-hit KO you, or he'll just dash through the air constantly, stabbing you. Or for some reason, and I don't know what really causes this, but, you know, sometimes you'll hit him and then he'll dash far away from you, and now you're out of combat with him and his buddy comes in and hits you. I hate them. I hate them with so much in my body. I cannot explain it, but after learning how to deal with them, I still hate them. I can't lie to you. Like, holy Jesus, they are some of the most annoying enemies in the world, and it's not even like a good feeling after I'm done beating them. It's like a thank God we're done this, and I hope you don't spawn another one, or I hope I don't walk into the next area and spawn another one. Like, I know there's not many of them, they're pretty much all set spawns, but oh my God, Invisible, can you just not exist? Is he in the Hades Cup? Holy crap. Oh my gosh, I hope he's totally in the Hades Cup, and I bet you that's like one of the worst rounds, and like, I just can't, I try not to think about the Invisibles. I mean, you look at them, they look sick. Like, they're a dark side, shrunken down, a little more defined, more thin, strong muscles. Actually has, like, non-wiry looking legs, the sweet little wings, and the demon tail tip, like, oh, super sweet design. But that doesn't mean that you have the right to beat the living crap out of me. So, as much as I love him and as much as I believe he deserves the second slot because of how much he made me get good at the game, I don't want to say anything nice about him either, so shall we just move on to number one, my favorite and most annoying enemy? So now, before we get to the number one, this amazing guy, let's do some quick honorable mentions here. Alrighty. With that all out of the way, we have one more to talk about. The Big Papa, the number one, the one that I believe is the best Heartless in this game series, bar none. And that's the Dark Ball. Yeah, the Dark Ball. This guy right here, this little circular ball with a few spikes on his head that literally is very minimal in design. One, he has some purple on him. Can never be mad if you ever put purple on something. Like, it's fantastic. It normally goes with every color. I mean, I'm having trouble finding a color it doesn't go with. Tell me in the comments if you know one that does. I'd love to know. However, besides that basic purple, besides that basic ball-like design, kind of not like perfectly shaped and kind of makes you think like the fireball from Final Fantasy X, isn't overly an eye grabber. And that's kind of what makes me love him so much. He doesn't make you pay attention to him right off the bat, so you're like, oh, he doesn't look like that big of a deal, maybe he's like a kind of flying enemy. And then the RNG hits you, and for some reason, I don't know if it like is actually programmed this way or not, I'm not entirely sure how he works, but he always seems to literally have the most random attack pattern. In his journal entry from Birth by Sleep states, one of the many forms that the heart takes after being swallowed by darkness. It uses strange movements to make fun of the enemies and bites it, showing me these guys ain't as bad as they think we are, and they're just maybe trying to play, but also showing me that maybe the developers had a little knowledge that they're making their enemy a little heavy in the RNG to create a more chaotic battle to deal with. His later variations, like the Flame Core and all that stuff, kind of took a nice spin on it and took it away from the RNG heavy just enemy with like 4 moves and like gave him some more like diversity and whatnot. But overall, the Dark Ball original form, which we still see in some of the Kingdom Hearts spin-off games and Kingdom Hearts 2, was the best enemy. He's just simple, annoying as all heck, highly like he has high attack, high health, and like a high level later game enemy, so he's always kind of annoying, kind of right at the right standard to deal with you. Honestly, like, you look at him, he's kind of adorable. I love one as a pet, and like you can't get mad at a face like that when all I wanted to do was play around with you. And just he's not very good at it because he's a Heartless. They don't really know how to play. They're trying, man. They don't want to be all darkness, or maybe they do, who knows. However, the Dark Ball is definitely my favorite Heartless. He looks great, his attacks are great, his like animations, his combat strategy is literally nothing, so good luck with that. That just, I love when it's chaos is your solution, good luck. And he can be literally a 2-shot enemy if he like gets you in the right combo or gets you in the right position. So like the Dark Ball is very underrated, very low view on maybe, but personally I love him. He's that oddball and he's perfect. You can't be mad at him, so what can I say other than all hail Dark Ball? And that's my list, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment below if you agree or disagree, or just maybe you want recognition for your Heartless who didn't make this list. Just drop it down there in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified when I release new videos, and thank you for watching. See you, YouTube.